We believe net neutrality should not be restored in order to maintain censorship, continue the success that the internet has had without it, and to prevent additional charges and fees provided to consumers. Net neutrality has been a controversial topic in this country for over a decade. We strongly encourage our audience to look over the facts we provide and keep an open mind when thinking about net neutrality. The internet is probably the most influential invention in history. It has created thousands of jobs, a new way to socially network, and a place for free expression. Net neutrality can change the way you surf the web, speak with friends and family online, and affect the performance of your internet speed. The internet is a great place for free expression, but how do we ensure that children aren't exposed to things that are far too mature for them? Thanks to net neutrality, the internet has thousands of unregulated websites that contains material that may be too inappropriate for children. Today, kids are hooked on electronics. The average kid from the ages of 8 to 18 spends about 44.5 hours per week in front of a screen. Imagine how much those numbers have climbed since the beginning of the pandemic. Because the internet has thousands of unregulated websites, thanks to net neutrality, kids have access to lots of things. You are able to put parental locks on certain websites, but because kids are so tech savvy these days, it's very easy for them to bypass these locks. And also it's virtually impossible to block every single website on the internet that may be inappropriate. InternetMatters.org states that with net neutrality in place, kids have access to pornographic material, content containing swearing, sites that encourage vandalism, crime, terrorism, racism, sexism, animal cruelty, and eating disorders. They also have access to gambling sites and unmoderated chat rooms where you don't know who your child is speaking to. Pedophiles are able to remain anonymous in these chat rooms, which makes it extremely dangerous for children to be on them. They can pretend to be another child or lure them into sharing information that could get them kidnapped. This is called grooming. They can say, oh, hi, I'm another 10-year-old, let's meet up and play, and end up kidnapping them or molesting them or killing them. This is a very dangerous thing for children to be exposed to. Porn is also extremely accessible. It is free on the internet, there are thousands of websites that contain it, and you don't need to prove your age to watch it. Pornography, watching pornography too early can lead kids into having early sex, which could lead to STDs and early pregnancy and unwanted pregnancy. Kids are often very uneducated when it comes to sex, so if they were contracting an STD, they probably wouldn't even know it. Pornography also depicts images of rape and torture. According to Psychology Today, early exposure by age 14 to porn and other explicit material may increase the risk of a child becoming a victim of sexual violence or acting out sexually against another child. So basically what this means is when your child is watching porn too early on, especially ones that depict rape and torture, they are more likely to become a sexual offender or be a victim of sexual offense. Net neutrality provides access to thousands of websites that may be too mature for children, which is exactly why we need to keep it in place. Here's a quick video explaining exactly what net neutrality is.
Neutrality comes from the idea that all information on the internet is treated equally. Data is transmitted over the internet in packets and flows freely through all networks between you and the source of the data. We currently have an open internet, and ISPs distribute data neutrally. That means whether you want access to Facebook, Netflix, or YouTube, the ISP will deliver all data packets with the same preference. In a non-neutral internet, an ISP can ask an application provider, such as Facebook, to pay an additional fee to deliver their data packets faster. Facebook could buy this preferential treatment, giving them an edge over their competition and pushing other sites out of the market. On the other hand, given that they do not comply, an ISP can greatly reduce the speed in which their data is delivered. This also opens the possibility.
Okay.
All right. That being said about its success in the past, looking forward, we proved that investors will not put in time to invest in these companies and therefore have an effect on their products. Net neutrality causes an increase in fees and charges to consumer. Notice how many online companies have a price like Google, Microsoft, and even Spotify. Even if you don't use the internet broadband, you still pay for the access to reach those websites. Procon.org says that additional fees to cover the costs of the massive bandwidth they use will trickle down to consumers in the form of more expensive internet packages, which are paid by all, even those who don't use the streaming services. The internet speed we have today is not worth putting more money into it. Investing in a network with no return is throwing money away, like PSU.org says. If you have these pure net neutrality rules, where you can never charge a company like Netflix anything, you're not ever going to get a return on continued network investment, which means you'll stop investing in the network. During times like these, where millions of people are asked to stay indoors and follow social distancing protocols, people stay home and use technology for work, social media, and entertainment. The New York Times shows that there has been a 27% increase in the use of Facebook, 16% increase in the use of Netflix, and a 15.3% increase in the use of YouTube ever since the coronavirus. Children must be taken with extra precaution when surfing the web, and removing net neutrality will make that easier for us older kids to make sure that they aren't exposed to inappropriate content. The success of the internet in the past few years has proven to be safe, economically beneficial, and overall more powerful in terms of internet data. In order to avoid the high-rise prices of internet usage, we should all vote against the restoration of net neutrality. Net neutrality should not be restored in order to maintain censorship, continue the success the internet has had without the regulations, and prevent additional charges and fees to consumers. Overall, net neutrality has effects that can impact our daily lives and can cause long-term damage to our social and virtual lives. Thank you.
Thank you. How do I stop recording?